So our next region is the Mountain West, and the Mountain West includes most of Utah and Montana, northern Nevada, Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho.
Geographically, it's a extension to the north of the southwest, I think. That's all a dry region. I think that the advantages are that it just looks epic, especially Idaho. Idaho looks amazing. It has mountains, rivers, it just looks lovely. And it's also got lots of waterfalls. There, we went to, I think it was Idaho Falls or Twin Falls, I can't remember which one, but from this dry plateau, there was a crater and a sort of Eden inside this crater. It just looks astonishing. We didn't need any Instagram filters because it looks so good. It looks fantastic. And so did Montana. I think Montana looks pretty good too. Utah, it wasn't quite as epic, but it was still a mountainous region. It was quite dry.
Utah also looked very unique in that the salt gave it a very different look. And I think it must be one of the saltiest places on Earth. It didn't look quite like the rest of the region, but like the rest of the region, the people were extremely friendly. It was so easy to talk to people in the Mountain West that I think even though the climate might be a little bit colder than we're presently interested in, if we move somewhere warm and get sick of the heat, we will definitely consider the Mountain West. The dry weather is also wonderful.
I think dry is the key thing. I much prefer that. I think it's fairly cheap as well.
Yes.
Except for, the reason it isn't quite as cheap as other places is there were places so remote, fuel prices started just climbing up because you'd get somewhere that was the only place that you could fill up for 100 miles. Yeah, the downside is that it's colder. And the other thing, and this isn't a slight on this particular group, but especially in Utah, that almost everyone was Mormon, and we're not members of the LDS Church, and I think that would be a barrier to social interaction. In fact, we spoke to someone who wasn't a Mormon, who lived in Salt Lake City, and said that it was quite difficult to fully integrate. Another downside is the area that we went to had lots of cattle, and cattle bring flies, so there were more flies around in the Mountain West than other regions. Wyoming was just full of flies.
In Idaho as well, as beautiful as it was, every hotel room we stayed in, and we stayed 4 nights, there was always at least one fly we had trouble getting rid of.
Yeah.
So I think that's down to all the cattle.
So the best city, we didn't really have a best city, but southern Idaho seemed like the place to be in the Mountain West. It was just stunning.
Boise was there, as were Twin Falls and Idaho Falls, which we'd have to look more into some of the tech prospects, and we were a bit tired by the time we got there, but that looked like those were pleasant places to live. I'd say the runner-up was Salt Lake and Provo, and even though there were definitely tech prospects there, there's the aforementioned issue of us not being Mormon that would have made it a bit harder to integrate, even though there are very good job opportunities there.
A plus for Provo is that it has Google Fiber. That's good.
The place that was impressive, though we probably wouldn't live there, was the Bozeman area and the Helena area in Montana, in that they had amazing mountains, lovely people, and I'm just impressed at how much they've built in the absolute middle of nowhere. Both of those cities are near nothing but each other, and even that's a bit of a stretch. So yeah, Montana is impressive, but probably a bit too remote for us to live in.